Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I am Dr. Iram Siddiq and I am working as Assistant Professor at Department of Psychiatry and Behavioral Sciences, Faisalabad Medical University. Today we will discuss memory, what is memory and how it builds in the brain areas and how we can retrieve our memory and how we can improve our memory regarding retrieval. I will told you people that this lecture will available in two sections. In first section today we will discuss the types of the memory, and in the next lecture we will discuss how we can improve our memory. So memory is the most extraordinary phenomena in the natural world. Our sensory experiences, perceptions and actions change us continuously and determine what we are later able to perceive, remember, understand and become. The most amazing aspect of human memory is the characteristics that it stores events as video recordings along with the associated emotions and feelings. A subsequent recall therefore also included the reliving of associated emotions. It is this phenomenon that makes our memories pleasant and unpleasant. Higher mental functions such as speech, thinking, perception, mood, psychomotor skills, and consciousness of surroundings are based on memory. Indeed, without memory, there can be no mind. So we will discuss the stages of memory, how memory formed in our brain. Human memory resembles a computer in that it consists of an information processing system that has three separate stages. So first stage in memory formation is encoding. What is encoding? Sensory information is received and coded or transformed into neural impulses that can be processed further or stored for later use. Just as computer changes keyboard entries into usable electronic symbols that can be stored on a disk, sensory information is transduced so that it can be used and stored by the brain. Apart from transduction, a great deal of encoding process appears to be devoted to rehearsing or repeating the input. So the first stage in memory is encoding and the next stage is storage. Like a computer program, the encoded information must be stored in the memory system. Although some bits of information are stored briefly or used only once and then discarded, others, like certain telephone numbers, are used frequently and are therefore stored on a more permanent basis. So storage, and the third part of the memory formation is retrieval. That is the most important part. Once a computer program has been named and stored, we can call it up by its name and use it again. Human memory works in much the same way. When we recall or bring a memory into consciousness, we have retrieved it. This recall process is known as memory retrieval. So you can see a chart which showing the human memory is divided into sensory memory, short-term memory and long-term memory. And the long-term memory is further divided into explicit memory, which is in the part of our conscious system, and implicit memory, which is the part of our unconscious system. And in implicit memory, the form of memory is procedural memory, like the skills and the tasks which we learn, like driving a car, like a procedure or a skill of a surgeon, that is a procedure memory. While the explicit memory, which is in the conscious part, is further divided into declarative memory in the form of events and concepts, that is semantic and episodic memory. So now we will discuss the detail of types of memory. The first is the sensory memory. So sensory memory is a memory or storage of a sensory event such as sight, sound and taste with no further processing or interpretation. Sensory memory provides us with a very brief image of all of the stimuli that present at a particular moment and therefore has the potential to be quite large. Because many stimuli we are received all the time. Sensory memory appeared to be last only briefly, about 1.5 to 1 second, depending on which sensory system is involved. For instance, if you see an object, an image persists for about 1/2 second afterwards. Similarly, information you hear is held as a brief echo is sensory memory for up to 2 seconds. So the stimuli which will remain more than below the 1.5 second will not register, will not transduced into a memory. So after sensory memory, the memory is converted into short term and then long term. How the conversion takes place we will see in the form of short term memory. Not everything seen or heard is kept is memory. Let's say a TV commercial is running in the background as your friend reads you notes on pharmacology. Do you remember the words of the TV ad? Probably not, because selective attention determines what information move on to short-term memory. Short-term memories are also brief but longer than sensory memories. Attending to your friend's narration will place his technical jargon in your short-term memory while allowing you to ignore the voice on TV saying talk shop. Like whenever you are doing 2 or 3 things at a time, the when thing home you paid more attention will convert into short-term memory while the other things will not register into your brain. So sensory memory is converted sometimes into the short-term memory and sometimes that things which you memorize itself converted into short-term memory. So short-term memories can be stored as images, but more often they are stored as sounds, especially in recalling words and letters. Short-term memory acts as a temporary storehouse for small amount of information. Unless the information is important, it is quickly dumped from short-term memory and is lost forever. So short-term memory prevents our minds from collecting useless names, dates, telephone numbers and other trivia. At the same time, it provides a working memory where we do much of our thinking, dialing a phone number, doing mental arithmetics and remembering a shopping list. So in short-term memory, we have events, things, places for short-term period. If we will not retrieve them again and again, they will be dumped from our short-term memory storage. Other than this, when we shortly remember the things, when we want to remember things shortly, it's really helpful by memorizing them into short-term memory storage place. Now we will discuss long-term memory. So information that is meaningful and important is transferred to the third memory system called long-term memory. In contrast to short-term, long-term memory acts as a permanent storehouse for information. Long-term memory contains everything you know about the world and yet there appears to be no danger of running out of the room long-term memory, which is considered to have a limitless storage capacity. So information in the long term is stored on the basis of meaning and importance and not by sound or images. When new information enters short term, it is related to knowledge stored in the long term memory. This gives the new information meaning and makes it easier to storage it in long term. तो शॉर्ट टर्म में स्टूडेंट्स जो इमेजेस में साउंड्स की फॉर्म में हमारी मेमोरीज होती हैं, अगर उनको मीनिंग दे दिया जाए, उनकी इम्पोर्टेंस को जो है वो अच्छे से अंडरस्टैंड कर लिया जाए तो दे विल कन्वर्ट इनटू द लॉन्ग टर्म मेमोरी. और जब भी कोई न्यू इन्फॉर्मेशन आपके क्योंकि लॉन्ग टर्म आपके परमानेंट स्टोर्स है मेमोरी के आपके ब्रेन में, शुरू से लेके आपके अर्ली स्टेज जब से मेमोरी बननी स्टार्ट होती है टिल डेथ, जो आपको वट एवर हैपन अराउंड यू, जो कि आपके लॉन्ग टर्म में स्टोर हो गई हैं चीजें, मीनिंग्स चीजें, तो जब आपकी शॉर्ट टर्म में जो भी न्यू चीज इन्फॉर्मेशन आएगी तो वो रिलेट करते हैं लॉन्ग टर्म के जरिए, तो वो ज्यादा अंडरस्टैंडेबल और इजी हो जाता है, एक तो उसकी स्टोरेज और दूसरा उसकी अंडरस्टैंडिंग। और लॉन्ग टर्म जो इन्फॉर्मेशन, लॉन्ग टर्म मेमोरी स्टोरेज में इंफॉर्मेशन जो है उसे हमें रिपीटेडली कुछ ऐसे एक्ट्स होते हैं जिसके साथ हम उसको स्टोर करते हैं। शॉर्ट टर्म में आपने जैसे अभी पढ़ा है पीछे प्रीवियसली कि ये जो है आपकी फ्यू सेकंड्स मिनट्स तक की मेमोरी होती है, इसको भी आप लॉन्ग टर्म में कन्वर्ट कर सकते हैं, अदर देन अगर आपको जरूरत नहीं होगी तो ये आपके माइंड से डिलीट हो जाएगी। हमारा ब्रेन मोस्ट ऑफ कंप्यूटर फंक्शनिंग आपको पता ही है किसी हद तक, उसके साथ साथ ही कंप्यूटर की जो डिस्कवरी है वो हमारे ब्रेन की फंक्शनिंग की बेसिस पे ही है। तो जो लॉन्ग टर्म हमारी स्टोरी जो चीजें होती है ना, उसके लिए हमारे कुछ अटेंशन, कुछ हमारा रिपीटेड रिट्रीवल, रिपीटेड रिकॉल, ये चीजें होती हैं जो आपको हेल्प करती हैं कि आपकी लॉन्ग टर्म मेमोरी स्टोरेज में चीजें कन्वर्ट कर जाएं। और हमारा कॉन्शियस, हमारा अटेंशन स्पैन, हमारी तवज्जो, कंसंट्रेशन, दे आर वेरी मच इम्पॉर्टेंट इन स्टोरिंग आवर लॉन्ग टर्म मेमोरी. It is therefore important to build new information on what you already known. Areas of the brain are responsible for memory, but the hippocampus is of particular importance in long-term memory. Like जैसे कंप्यूटर में हमने फोल्डर्स बनाए होते हैं, बिल्कुल इसी तरह हमारे ब्रेन में हमारे मेमोरी के स्टोरेज फोल्डर हैं। चाइल्डहुड का एक फोल्डर होगा, एक आपका स्कूल लाइफ का होगा, एक आपकी पर्सनल लाइफ के फोल्डर्स होंगे। तो व्हेनेवर कोई न्यू इन्फॉर्मेशन अगर आपके माइंड में जाती है तो सबसे पहले आपका वो फोल्डर स्टिमुलेट होगा कि उससे मुतालिक और क्या क्या इन्फॉर्मेशन आपके ब्रेन में है, तो वो हेल्पफुल होती है फर्दर स्टोरेज के लिए भी। Recent research in human memory has revealed that there is more than one type of long-term memories. The type of information being processed influence the nature of the stored memory. Three major categories of long-term memory have been proposed, illustrated in the following table. So this is the table. You can see incoming information is in the form of sensory memory. That sensory memory is, if you can remember, that lasts only for half second to 1 to 2 seconds. If it is not attended, then it will be forgotten. If we will give selective attention, then they are converted into the short-term memory. The short-term memory is the thing, if it will not coded, then it will forgotten. And if that short-term memory is successfully coded for storage into the long-term memory, and you can see the repeated rehearsal from the long-term memory to short-term memory can strongly converted your short-term memory into long-term memory. Memory is thought to involve at least 3 steps. Incoming information is first held for a second or 2 by sensory memory. Information selected by attention is then transferred to short-term memory. If new information is not repeatedly encoded or rehearsed, it is forgotten. If it is transferred to long-term memory, it becomes relatively permanent, although retrieving it may be a problem. This is another table in your books. It is also available, and this is showing the types of long-term memory. The long-term memory is divided into implicit and explicit subtypes. Implicit type is the type which is in the form of skills like procedural memory, memory used in making responses and skilled action, like remembering how to dissect, pass a nasogastric tube, play tennis और drive a car. जहां हमारी skills और reflexes इस्तेमाल हो, क्योंकि spinal involvement आ जाती है उसमें, तो that is the procedural memory. आप अपने senior से सुनेंगे कि आप reflexes bedside methods होते हैं, अगर आप उन पे repeatedly वो करें तो वो आपकी skill spine में चले जाते हैं. It means कि वो आपकी स्किल बन जाते हैं और आपका एक मेथडोलॉजी बन जाती है पेशेंट को अटेंड करने की। अगर आप शुरू से ही एक ही पैटर्न पे चलते रहें तो वो आपकी प्रोसीजरल मेमोरी बन जाएगी। व्हेनेवर द पेशेंट केम आप उसी पैटर्न पे उसको अटेंड करेंगे। जैसे अब जो लोग ड्राइविंग सीखते हैं स्टार्ट में, उनको बहुत फोकस करना पड़ता है सब एरियाज ऑफ ड्राइविंग पे, बट वंस वो उनकी प्रोसीजरल मेमोरी बन जाए, दे कैन इजीली ड्राइव। वो बातें भी कर सकते हैं, वो बातें करते हैं, ड्राइविंग करते हुए मल्टीपल काम और भी कर लेते हैं साथ में। So that is due to our procedural memory. Now semantic memory, the explicit memory has two subtypes, semantic and episodic. Semantic is stores of general and specific information like water boils at 100 degrees centigrade, Pakistan is in Asia, heart is on the left, motor cortex is in the medial frontal lobe. So semantic is about the general information, and what the episodic memory, that is a much more important memory, which is the our personal events or personal information पे base करती है। like your date of birth, आपका कॉलेज में कैसा फर्स्ट डे गुजरा, आपके जो पेरेंट्स हैं, आपके पेशेंट्स हैं, आपकी पर्सनल इवेंट्स के मुतालिक जो इंफॉर्मेशन है, that is episodic memory. So what is rehearsal? The process of rehearsal consists of keeping items of information in the center of the attention by repeating them silently or aloud. The amount of rehearsal given to the items is important in the transfer of information from short-term memory to long-term memory. Experiments have indicated that the sheer amount of rehearsal may be less important than the ways in which information is rehearsed. Just going over and over what is to be remembered does not necessarily succeed in transferring it to long-term memory. What really works is elaborative rehearsal, which is an active process involving giving the material organization and meaning as it is being rehearsed. आपके लिए एज अ स्टूडेंट बहुत इम्पॉर्टेंट है कि वेज ऑफ रिहर्सल आपको पता हो, आपको मेमोरी इंप्रूव करने के वेज का पता हो, आप कैसे जो डेली पढ़ते हैं आप कैसे उसको लॉन्ग टर्म में रख सकते हैं अपने एग्जाम्स के लिए। अगर कोई ऐसे जनरल सा पैराग्राफ हो इंग्लिश की, आपकी किसी भी बुक का, फिजियोलॉजी का, फार्माकोलॉजी का, अगर आपको अंडरस्टैंडिंग उसकी नहीं है, आप रिपीटेडली उसको पढ़ते जाएंगे, याद करते रहेंगे, तो वो एक रिफ्लेक्सली आपको याद हो जाएगा, लेकिन उसका आपको मतलब समझ नहीं आएगा। वो लॉन्ग टर्म मेमोरी में आपको वो रिकॉर्डिंग भी उसकी नहीं होगी जब तक आप उसको मीनिंग नहीं देंगे। आपको इलेबोरेटिव रिहर्सल चाहिए, आपको उसकी मीनिंग अंडरस्टैंडिंग करके, ऑर्गेनाइज करके, फिर आप उसको मेमोराइज करेंगे, रिपीटेड मेमोराइज करेंगे, तो वो लॉन्ग टर्म में कन्वर्ट होगा। एंड व्हाट इज फॉरगेटिंग? बहुत कॉमन है हमारे लोगों में, भूल जाता है। हम मैडम वाइवास में बड़ा सर याद किया था भूल गया, एग्जाम्स में बहुत सबके साथ होता है। सो फॉरगेटिंग इज द apparent loss of information already encoded and stored in the long-term memory. This means that much of what we think as forgotten is not really forgotten because it was never encoded and stored in the first place. This usually because some information due to the lack of attention may not have reached short-term memory from the sensory register, or due to inadequate encoding and rehearsal, the information may not have been transferred from the short-term to the long-term memory. So how much of information is forgotten? It depends on the following factors. Inference, experiments, evidence, as well as everyday experience indicate that learning new things interfere with our memories of what we learned earlier, and prior learning interferes with memory of things learned later. Retrieval problems, finding information in the organization. Long-term memory stores is aided by retrieval cues or reminders which directs the memory search to the appropriate part of the long-term memory library. Without the retriever cues, the search for items stored in long-term memory may not be found and one forgets. While we often cannot recall something while actively searching for it, we may later recall the search for information. When we have given up the search and doing something else, the new activity in which we are engaged give us another set of appropriate reminders or retrieval cues. And perhaps the new situation leads us to search through portion of our long-term stores not examined before. It is therefore a good idea to ask the examiner to go to the next question in Viva rather than continuing to retrieve an answer. It will come to you in a while when you are answering another question. So the third interference in our long-term forgetting is motivated forgetting. First thing you people have learned about inference, then retrieval problems, and now motivated forgetting. The theory of motivated forgetting was introduced by Sigmund Freud when he described a key concept of psychoanalysis in the form of repression. So repression refers to the tendency of the people to have difficulty in retrieving anxiety-provoking and threatening information. This helps to explain why people generally remember pleasant events more often than they do unpleasant ones. The unpleasant memories have been repressed. This aspect should encourage to make one's learning a lot of fun, enjoying your studies and clinical work rather than making it painful and a burden. This will happen if you will leave your exam preparations to the few days prior to do exams only. So we have discussed the types of the memory, which is the sensory memory, short-term memory, and long-term memory. And then we discuss how we can we can do retriever and convert our short-term memory into long-term, and how we can forget the things, and what elements interfere with our forgetting. In the next lecture, we will discuss the physiology and biochemistry of memory, and I will also tell you people how you can improve your memory in your exams. So this is all about today. If you like the lecture, do not forget to like and subscribe the channel. And if you have any questions, you can ask into the comments. Thank you.